name's Jordan Monroe from Provo, Utah. Our company is Owlet Baby Care. We've created a smart sock that sends heart rate and oxygen to a parent's smartphone. My background's a little bit different than I guess you might think some of other entrepreneurs are. I was raised in like a very rural town, and starting your own business always looked like a big risk. But the more I dove into it, the more I started to understand more about entrepreneurship, I realized that you're investing in yourself as a person, and you're taking out risk because you're not depending on others to provide you a job or provide you what you need. But when you invest in yourself, you're able to create value wherever you need. My team, we all met at BYU, and we were all working in entrepreneurial stuff on campus. 4 out of the 5 of us are all fathers. One of our founders, my good friend Kurt Workman, had a cousin pass away from SIDS, and he said he hadn't had his child yet, but he said there's got to be a way that we can empower parents. The Owlet Vitals Monitor works by sending infrared and red light through the baby's foot, and does some math on the back end to figure out what the heart rate and the oxygen levels are of the child, and sends that via Bluetooth 4.0 to a parent's smartphone. We could actually save lives with this product. We will have the largest infant data set that's ever existed. Data researchers and universities will be able to unlock some really amazing stuff about what's going on with children that sometimes die suddenly. Here at CES is where kind of everything happens, and we figured being there would be a huge benefit to our company. Even if we, didn't even make it to anywhere past the first round, I think getting that exposure and also getting feedback from the judges was super valuable. I feel like we've got a product that's actually going to change the world.
And we're back at Hardware Battlefield, live at CES 2014. Right now we have Jordan Monroe and Owlet. You showed us your dolphin picture. Is this one of your? It was your bucket list, right? You swam with dolphins, you skydived, and then you were on stage here. Is that part of it?
Yeah, last time we had the technical difficulties with my
we kept on
screensaver jumping up there. It was great,
which was beautiful. All right, Owlet, you have 6 minutes to get started. Let's see how it looks.
All right. So we're excited to share with you about this little baby sock that's going to change the world. It's going to empower parents, and it's also going to improve the health of infants everywhere. So I'd like to introduce to you some of the infants of our founders. And for those of you who have kids, having a child is the most life-changing experience that happens to us. You wait 9 months for this little you to come out, and when it does, you feel like you love it and you know it, and you haven't even met it yet, right? But it's kind of a bundle of emotions, because on the flip side of all that positive emotion is kind of this anxiety that goes with it. And you go from being in the hospital where there's so much help and so much control to going home and having to leave that situation of help. And there's one big concern that keeps parents up at night, and one customer said it very well. She said, "I've been to the funeral of a 6-month-old who died of SIDS, and I know 2 other mommies who have lost their kids the same way." Now, SIDS is sudden infant death syndrome. It's the #1 cause of infant death from 1 month to a year. And it's every parent's biggest concern, and that anxiety and that worry is something that causes stress in someone. So she continues. She says, "My own baby has had 3 blue spells where if I hadn't heard her monitor or seen her in time, she would have died. Those fears you were talking about are valid, and anything that saves a baby's life is worth it." To make matters worse, the current monitors on the market stink. They're old, they're outdated, and they don't tell you what's really going on with the health of your child. And nothing on the market can currently tell you the oxygen content and whether or not your child is getting enough oxygen. Until now. Introducing the Owlet Smart Sock. It's a sock that sends heart rate and oxygen levels to a parent's smartphone and can alert the parent in case of an emergency. We're using technology that you've all seen before. When you go into the doctor, they put that little light on your finger. It's called pulse oximetry, and it's safe, it's proven, and it's used all over the world. Being dads ourselves, we knew how important it was to make this thing baby-proof. So we've enclosed it in silicone to cut it off all contact from electronics, and we've made the electronics flexible. This was very important in the design of the product. We'd like to do a little demo, so if we can cut to the phone. So you press the little button, and it makes it discoverable. Are we there? OK, it goes into vitals. OK, it worked this time. You can tell I'm a little bit nervous standing in front of everyone, but my oxygen sats look good, and there's my skin temperature, as well as we've also put so that you can, mom is also empowered by this information and not overwhelmed. That's something we're still trying to discover, but we're making that information available. So if we can cut back to the PowerPoint. So not only are we tracking heart rate and oxygen levels, but we're also sending more data like skin temperature, rollover alerts, so that's if the baby's sleeping on their back or on their stomach, and then sleep quality, or how restless the child is during the night. Because this is great, because children don't exactly tell you what's wrong, right? They can't exactly speak. And so by offering more data and being able to send push notifications, such as the baby's awake, or even something as, your baby didn't sleep that well last night, this can be empowering to parents and help them navigate their way through parenthood. So I want to take a second and brag about the technology. Here on the right is a hospital-grade pulse oximeter. And then it's kind of the evolution of our product until the little thing I've been showing you today. What's really interesting is that our product is wireless, it's getting more data, and it's doing all of that at 1/80th of the size. There are a few hurdles in creating the product, because a child's foot triples in size in the first year. So it goes from about this size to this size, that's doubling, and then it triples one more to even a bigger size. So our monitor had to fit the whole time and also get a great reading the whole time. But as we overcame these hurdles, we also found a lot of patentable aspects. We have a 4-sensor design, which every hospital pulse oximeter you've used is only using two sensors, and that allows for one combination, receiver to emitter. But because we have 4 different sensors, we're allowing for 9 different combinations. That allows us to get a great reading as the child grows, and even as the child's kicking and things like that. So 2 months ago, we launched a crowdfunding campaign, and to see kind of what the demand would be, and it was overwhelming. We had so many parents reach out to us. Over $250,000 worth in money of units were sold on our website, and that's at owletcare.com. We still have units available for people to pre-order. So moving forward, we're really excited for next products, adding audio and video and scaling up the product for use of elderly care. But I want to tell you what really keeps us up at night and what really excites us is all the amount of data that we're going to be coming up with. In the hospital, when a child's born, from the first minute they're born to 10 minutes later, they know exactly what the oxygen and heart rate should be, because it changes. It goes from about 40% oxygen, and it moves. And in some hospitals, they've been able to actually predict when someone's going to get pneumonia based on their pulse ox. We're excited to be able to take that also and discover things that have never been discovered before, which is why universities like Rutgers and Harvard have reached out to us to really do something that's going to change the world. And that's what really excites us. So, that's our pitch. We know that being a parent is the most fulfilling thing we can go through in our lives, and here at Owlet, we want to keep it that way.
So I can say my daughter was a preemie. She was born at 2.5 pounds, and that thing that you saw up there, I had to deal with that for 4 months.
Yeah.
And and in the NICU, all their sensors are garbage as well. And I literally sat there reverse engineering all this stuff, asking them how much they cost, and just being like, this is a market to completely freaking wreck.
Yep.
And just totally undermine, disrupt, and own. And so what you've got here, I wish you'd had it 3 years ago, because the thing that its current standard goes off multiple times. When it goes off, you think your baby's dying, and then you realize that it's just it's fallen off.
Yeah.
And so I think it's critical that it's flexible. My daughter's feet were actually about a third. She was about the size of a squirrel. Yeah. So you might consider. I would have paid. I don't know what do they go for?
So right now on our website, it's going for $249.
Yeah, I would have paid up to 4 times that much, honestly. So I don't know what your BOM is, but screw it, charge more. The machines that they have in the hospital cost $20,000.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of room to make some money and then invest it in just completely destroying the rest of the industry.
Cool. Thank you.
What's your background, both of you?
So my background's in business development, and Steve's background is
electrical engineering.
Electrical engineering. The rest of our team that's not here right now, because we're actually shipping units at the end of the month, and so it's like all hands on deck. We're running like crazy right now to get it together. But
and how did you get to the stage? You've gotten funding, seed funding, or only the campaign, or?
We had an early investor put in about 50 grand, and then the rest we actually went to competitions like this and business plan competitions to help continue funding our business. So
wait, you got here on 50K and business plan competitions?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're funding you too. Yeah. All right. Awesome.
Sounds to me like you know, that. I mean, this is obviously very really impressive. There's the only one puzzling thing, and you know, we're all going to agree this is great and absolutely needed, is why you only got 1,000 people on the website. I've launched a couple of Kickstarter campaigns, and we've gotten 20,000 in 4 hours, or 6 hours, or 12 hours. There's something there where this is a huge market. People will spend any kind of money, for, especially you, Bree, for it.
Even if I was broke, I would have spent that much money.
I'm wondering kind of what's holding you back, or why I haven't. I mean, you know, I should have heard. I should know this before I've coming here.
Yeah. I mean, the branding is a little off. One, you could lock up the hospital market immediately. There are, what, 4 million births in 2010 in U.S. hospitals? Okay, so every baby should be born and have an Owlet in the hospital, and then it should be one of those things that parents see and want to bring home, but they can't because the hospital owns that one. So then they buy one for $200 to $800. Yeah. Then it's, how do you, like, please don't ever again demo that on a fake baby foot. Does anybody else have a visceral reaction to, oh God, it's a disembodied baby foot?
Cut off a baby's leg.
Yeah, I mean, use an American Girl's doll or like something. I know I'm nitpicking here, but that's creepy.
People said the same thing about the doll too, because it's got its eyes open as well. So
yeah. You can't win. Bring a baby. No, that would be a bad idea. But it's like there's the design elements don't match the emotional power of the story. And I feel like some of the other companies, that was the inverse. Yeah. But for you guys, it's like, holy shit, here's something that can save a baby's life. And I, as a parent, as an aunt, like, I babysit my nephew Bowden, and I live in constant fear that, like, something is going to happen to him, and I'm not going to know because I didn't hear the baby monitor, which sucks. You're right. So the brand identity, I think, really needs to be ratcheted up to that level of like safety and empowerment and control. Also FDA approvals. If you haven't done it yet, go through the accelerated program.
So we're actually going to do the same FDA testing that needs to be done if we were going to do the FDA. Yeah. And so just the accuracy testing, make sure that we have a very accurate pulse ox.
Definitely should.
Yeah.
You should definitely do
the
FDA
a little money
program.
And to answer your question, I didn't get a chance to answer your question as well. We had 1,200 people pre-order on our website, but we had closer to like 60,000 people get to our website through PR and other ways. And and some of our competitors are kind of coming out with smart baby monitors as well. They all failed on their crowdfunding campaigns. So I don't think they did more than like 20 grand, and we 10x what they did.
I mean, often crowdfunding is it's really where you do it, how you do it. There's sometimes Indiegogo can be great, sometimes it's the wrong place, or same with Kickstarter. I think you guys have solved the problem. I think we're converts. There is kind of positioning, marketing, branding.
I think
there's the emotional side that really needs to match the kind of emotion that you describe, which is and that you're trying to speak to, but somehow that needs to come across in your brand. I mean, your T-shirt doesn't really do it. See what I mean?
And your website has OWMS, like old white man syndrome. Like you look at all the images on your website, like that tells a story of one story. One story, one baby, one family that drives, the Chrysler latest whatever, and probably wants the big curved TV. Like, I think you have to reach out beyond that in your brand identity. The other question is, do you do your mobile software dev in-house?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm a big fan of the concept, to the extent that I've actually invested in one of your direct competitors, Sproutlink, but I think it's validating the space. But there's one part that surprised me. So there's absolutely this concept of creating the biggest data set of infant data, but it sounds like you're almost outsourcing that part to universities like Harvard and Rutgers, and that's, to me, that's the gravy, right? Because you can provide tons of data to people, but at the end of the day, it's not data that counts, it's insight, right?
Exactly.
And if you can do something with the data that helps parents being better parents to the emotional aspect, that's where you win, not if you just provide kids temperature. So is that something that you're going to do yourself, or how are you thinking about it?
I completely agree. We're getting a lot of mentoring right now in New York. We're at with some of our mentors from RGA, and they help create the fuel band. And that was kind of their whole thing, moving it from numerical to emotional. And they don't just show you a number; they show you the fuel, how many fuel points you have. And it's been really interesting. That's been on our minds. We're trying to do that same thing, not just overwhelm people with data, but give them insight about it. And the reason I mentioned Harvard and Rutgers is because that's more on not even talking about the monetary opportunities of it, but the fact that people could look into this and solve problems that haven't been solved in infant health. You know what I mean? Those universities could, and we have that opportunity to open it up to them and let them help us change the world on that aspect. And then monetarily, we didn't really talk about that. So.
Because without belaboring the point, it's like this amazing opportunity to create a data network effect, right? Where not only you get information for your device, but what everybody learns through the different devices helps your experience with your device get better, right? So it keeps learning and learning and getting better. So I was sort of expecting you guys to talk up the data science aspect of this and how you can turn this into like a massive network.
And the social aspect as well. I mean, it can be lonely to be a parent. You sort of cut off from people who don't have a kid, and being able to sort of share, compare with other people. I mean, these communities, these online communities of new parents are huge and quite successful,
sticky.
And sticky, and seeing connectivity between that data, the parent, and these communities would be great.
Yeah, that's something we're hoping to do as well. Actually, I'm glad you kind of said that, because one of our plans is to, I don't know if you know this, but when people go through a birthing class or through, we'll say use the example of birthing class, after they have their child, they all create a Facebook group, and they literally stay friends for like the next few years because all their children are in the exact same time in life, and they get to kind of communicate like, my child's teething, how's this for you guys? How are you guys handling it? And we definitely want to be able to do that, but that's kind of our plan, is to try and get into those small groups.
But also create competition between the parents.
We need to team up with Atlas is what we need to do.
As the best heart.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Quick question: battery life, and how do you charge it?
It charges the same way. It's got a little micro USB port right here on the back, so just like your cell phone. And battery life is based, of course, on use. But you can expect about the same life as out of your cell phone. So like you have your cell phone all day and then you charge it at night. This is the other way around. You have it on your baby all night, and then we expect to have it last 24
hours.
We expect it to last up to 3 days.
Okay, I think that's minimum. Yeah. You're not thinking straight when you have a new baby, so you need to be able to not keep the baby up while you're charging the device.
More questions for these guys?
Is the sleeve neoprene? What's the material of the sleevey part, the sling part?
Yeah, it's a breathable kind of neoprene type thing. We had to make sure it was breathable. We tested like tons of different fabrics, and other ones kind of made the baby sweat, and they slipped off easily. So this was the one.
Everything you say tells me you are and know your market, which stunningly doesn't always happen in hardware companies, and is another huge plus. So
I agree with just one caveat. You mentioned it maybe a couple of times, mom. So you think the mom is the buyer, not the techie dad?
They're both the buyers. 50%. It's actually 50-50 from our pre-sales. Half of them were mom, half of them were dad. But of all other baby monitors, it's usually 75% mom who's buying, who's leading the decision. So and I feel like mom also needs more empowerment, and so I guess we spend more time talking to customers as mothers, because and they're also the ones that are talking more about it between themselves, and so that's kind of our plan.
Have you talked to retailers?
We've talked to a few, but that's kind of just down the road as well. So a few have also reached out, looked at it, and said, "Wow, this is really cool." So
I would look at starting in a very select fashion with the right, reaching kind of the right types of parents.
You drop a crate in Park Slope.
Sorry, what?
You drop a crate in Park Slope, Brooklyn, and you just let them fight for them. And it just creates sort of like a flash mob. All right. So there we go. So that was Owlet, Jordan Monroe. Thank you very much for coming out.